Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. I have to turn my light on. Whoa, that's too bright. Thanks so much for joining us here today. To kick us off, obviously, as always, if you don't mind hitting that like button down below to help bring some more people, especially if you're already from the community of Hybrid Bond, then please put that like down in there to call some more people in here so we get this party hopping. Other than that, we will start off with the regular song and dance. And if you guys don't mind letting me know who you are, I know we've met a little bit off camera on Discords and whatnot, but let us know who you guys are first.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I can go first, and then I'll pass it to McRoy. So I'm Xerox Solo. I founded Hybrid Finance, and then subsequently Hybrid Bond now with McRoy and our colleague Kilmac. A little, I guess it's like a year and a half ago now. But I've been in crypto since just prior to the kind of DAO phase. I got kind of into the DAOs from both an investment perspective because I was super hyped about APY because I didn't have a clue what it was actually doing in the background. Found that out the fun way, and then got involved in building out the DAO governance structures when DAOs and the whole governance thing was all the craze, and then kind of progressed along from there really. So and then prior outside of crypto, I have a bit of a background in aviation as well. So that's I suppose a quick run through for me.
And McElroy.
Yeah, McElroy, like Solo said, we've been working together for, just about a year and a half. I pretty much helped the team with product development, a bit of a treasury management. And I got into crypto kind of similar time as Solo. I think a little later. I got in right at the top of the whole DAO APY thing, and made sure to lose all the money that I had allocated. Almost all the money, not everything. I kept, I think I had like maybe a few percentages left. But anyway, so I learned the hard way. I had a plan when I came into crypto, and then I saw the gigantic APYs and threw my plan away, my investment plan. But then I met the team, and we've been working together since, and trying to get some actual real yield.
Nice. Yeah. I think all of us have kind of similar stories when it comes to that. I came in during node season just last year and yeah, same thing right at the peak of the bull and threw a bunch of money in and went and saw everything slow rug. Then got used to being rugged a lot quicker in this last little bot season and now looking to try and obviously rid us of all that BS. So, so yeah. And we'll pull up the website, which I have up here now. And then if you guys maybe want to give us a little lowdown of what you're trying to do differently and what you're trying to do in the space to bring some of those yields to everyone that are more realistic.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've kind of introed to it quite nicely, actually. So the hybrid bond is about first of all, it's an NFT offering, and it's all about diversified, sustainable yield, right? So tangible stuff. So the three kind of pillars that we have going at the moment is mining. So there's a few of our mining tokens. So we've got Bitcoin, Kadena, Litecoin, Nervus, to name a few. Yield farming, so that could be validating, liquid staking, or different sort of yield farming options built on top of those generally. And then we have trading bots in particular. Trading bots run through who you mentioned already, I believe, Warfi, right?
Yeah.
And it's all about that diversity and that sustainability, that these are things that we believe and we can defend our belief on that are going to be around not only in months but in years time, right? And these are the core foundations in real yield, and we're taking them all together, we're bundling them up, and we're selling it as a singular, almost think of it almost like an ETF, right?
Yeah.
Of real yield. That's the goal.
Nice. And great. And this is the kind of stuff I'm kind of wanting to see in this space because unfortunately we've proven to ourselves time and time again with emotions and all kinds of other things. We don't necessarily make our best decisions in the moment. So having something like this that kind of takes that guesswork away, we can still have fun with, let's say, 1, 5, 10% of our portfolio, but the key components should be in stuff like this. And even knowing what blue chips to buy are not always something everybody's always perfectly versed in. So having, again, a protocol like this that kind of does it for us definitely gives me some happy feelings on what can be done with it, kind of thing. So that's great. And again, you've got a nice mix here. So obviously weighted mostly in yield farming, presumably because that's kind of your bread and butter and where you're going to see the more consistent wave. As long as you manage that right, you're going to see that more consistent wave of ROI, I guess, from that part of it, I guess, is why you chose that.
Yeah, so the weighting is there's a lot that goes into it, but it's about risk to reward balance, and it's also about aligning ourselves for the future. So you hit it nicely on the head there with like, you know, we're still all slightly degen, right? No matter how much you lose, it's still hard to look past the likes of Pepe, right, or whatever it is at that time. And so what another benefit to this is, it's like, well, if you want to get into something like the hybrid bond, then that really frees up that 1 to 5% of your portfolio, because you know you have this bedrock of these assets that are on your screen being airdropped to you, or their wrapped equivalent on Polygon quarterly. So you have that bedrock to then go off and invest as you see fit. It's that singular kind of purchase that positions yourself very, very nicely. With back to the yield farming side, part of it is based off a slight barrier to entry, in the sense if we do want to validate, then they're fairly costly. The minimum requirements for an ETH node is pretty pricey, along with an AVAX node for that matter. Which we may or may not do depending on the rates. But yeah, we want to buy this big bag of blue chips. It's not just about generating yield on them, but it's also about managing them so that if we were to see a bull run down the line, right, we're not going to just be holding our big bag of blue chips and not doing anything with them. We are going to be selling them and reacquiring as prices dip. I'm not going to sit here and claim to be God's gift of a trader. That is not the point. The point is about accumulating now and putting them to work, so they're not just idly wasted, but we're ready for things to pick up. Should they pick up? If they don't, that's fine. We have our projections for what happens at current pricing, and we're happy with those. But yeah, if we hit a bull run down the line, not only are they going to be much more lucrative, but they're going to be a massive bag of blue chips. So it's
Exactly.
That's kind of the weighting there.
Nice. And that makes sense. And that's great. And the other thing with that, I guess, which I think was just down here, is the NFTs. So we've got very reasonable rates, which is what we want to see in this space a little more so. And the nice thing here, like you said, is these are your conservative during the bear market, which we've gotten a fair amount of data from. So it's not hard to say, I hope, I presume, and I know you're not guaranteeing anything, but it's probably fair to say that these are somewhat accurate to what has happened and doesn't predict the future, but gives you guys a good idea that, hey, this is what you're going to earn for now. Now, with that being said, then I guess, though, is, and what you just said is the big benefit here, though, on the other side of that coin, is that when the bull does come back, and it will, to be fair, unless other things in the world happen, then you're going to see a much bigger rise on that from what you're saying. Now, are you guys holding on to a lot of those tokens, or are you paying out in them?
Yeah, so we want to pay out as much as possible of the actual assets that we get, because we want to be able to give you that choice. If you think, I want to kind of accumulate my ETH because I think, at 1800 or whatever it is at, I think it's got a lot of upside potential, whatever it is. If you want to hold them, you can. If you want to dump them, you can. We don't want to take that option away from you. So where the wrapped asset exists on Polygon with significant liquidity to be worthwhile airdropping it to you, then we certainly will. If it's not available, for example, CKB or Nervous, we will sell. We'll develop a strategy for that. So we already do all of these things, right? We already have KA3s, L7s, K7s running with our mining host. We have blue chips in our key and automation strategies, and we are deploying into warbots currently. So That's kind of where these projections are coming from. And with the Kadena, for example, that we have a strategy outlined based off the Kadena price, how much we hold, how much we sell, and then at what point we start to dump our reserves as well. Again, this is not, I'm not saying I can read Kadena's price absolutely perfectly, but if we do have to manage that, then of course we will manage it as to the best of our ability as well. But ideally, it's going into the investor's pocket.
Okay. So, and then obviously we're kind of talking about this. So the idea then is that 7.99 or that 8.93 is going to be coming back to you weekly, monthly,
quarterly.
oh, sorry, that's right. Reed says it right there. Jeez. So quarterly, you're getting that, and then again, you can then choose to, and not financial advice, guys, but you can choose to hodl those tokens that you get in a nice spread that you're kind of DCing in now proactively through this NFT to then hopefully wait for the right time to move those around based on potentially again a bull coming around again. Is that the idea then?
Yeah, definitely. Just to give everyone, as much power as possible over the returns that have ultimately been generated from their investment.
So all those people like myself who keep saying I'm going to start building a bag of blue chips, instead of not doing what I say I'm going to do, buy this NFT and I'll start building that automatically.
Yeah, exactly. I've been in a lot of projects that pay out passive yield and stuff, and the mining has been kind of eye-opening when we started mining with Fraction, and it's really cool actually just looking in our ant pool and seeing the mining working and just knowing that that's a real piece of tech doing a job, upholding the network and being rewarded for it. And it's just, I don't know, so for me personally, it was just so refreshing, and we want to emulate that to an extent because everything that we're doing is legitimate, and so we want you guys getting those, really as legitimate as it gets in crypto in terms of the assets that you're getting. These are crypto terms, solid, directly into your wallet. It's just something that's really, really rewarding, to be honest.
Nice. And are you guys getting, so I see obviously some networks here that you're partnering with, Fraction Mining or Xeno Mining. Cian, I think I've seen that before, but I'm not sure that one. So are you getting, I'm not going to say special treatment, but because of the volume, are you guys getting some benefit? So rather than me going to Fraction Mining directly, but going through you guys instead to diversify myself with the work you're doing, are you getting some type of value out of those relationships that helps with the overall, I guess, fees and stuff that are involved in all of this?
Yes, in certain areas, not in all.
Okay.
With Warfi, it will depend on the volume that we generate. Lower volume, probably not preferential rate. With Fraction Mining, yes. The additional advantage is that it is our tech, so those are our miners. Whereas, say you were to do the equivalent and buy like a mining NFT from any mining NFT protocol, then it's their miners, and you're just getting a hash rate generally. Whereas we have the portfolio as a whole owns those miners, and so we can manage those like we would manage our bag of blue chips, so we can liquidate those assets as and when is applicable. Mining is, you got to be really careful, right? Because you can't just dump all your cash in there, and it's just going to be obsolete in like a year. Probably tends to be the amount of time before Bitmain come out with a new ridiculously powered miner that they pre-mine for months. So you got to manage that carefully, and that's why we have things like a maintenance fund, not only for fixing miners that do break down, but also buying new tech and bumping up the value of our old tech when we do choose to sell it. So there are benefits there in certain instances, and then some of them are also more so just marketing as well, in the sense that we collab and promote each other because we are working together very much. And the main thing is just that these are people that we really just get along with in the space because they're doing something that we think aligns very well with what we're doing, and we want to help each other build. And I'm sure that those partnerships will do nothing but grow and develop as we progress.
Nice. And we need more of that in the space, as people that have the same feelings and the understandings that we want something that's going to survive and not just be a flash in the pan like Pepe and all this other junk that keeps flying around. Makes some people some money, but it's also risky and loses a lot of people a lot of money. So yeah. So other than that, Adam just threw out a question here. So is there any way to automatically compound earnings? I think I know the answer to this, but instead of taking quarterly profits, or are you guys just sort of forcing those funds out and then let them make their decision from there?
Yeah, currently we have no compounding. It may come in the future, but I'm kind of on the fence about it, to be honest, because I kind of would rather that you take your profits out and
Mm-hmm.
sell them or take the dollar value out. This is kind of borderline on like a dividend type thing. Yeah, probably not, but it's not written off for the future as we develop out more. You think we're not launching with a ton of bells and whistles, right? We're just launching with the product functioning as it should. But in terms of the NFT and literally just bells and whistles type things, it's going to be
Yeah.
very just clean and simplistic, and we can build them out later on.
Yeah, no, and I don't see any realistic. I guess if there's is there a limit to the NFTs, or are you kind of just going to keep growing if the funds keep coming in, kind of thing?
We'll keep opening new batches as things progress, and the thing is, it's much easier to manage if we do it like that. It's kind of tricky because if you just buy a $500 NFT, obviously we can't just buy a portion of a miner with
Yeah.
that. So it's much easier if we can get a big batch in, and then we can split it into those percentages above, and then we can tweak those percentages if we see like, oh well, that's going to end up with us buying 0.5 of a KA3. That's no good. We need to reevaluate. So
Yeah.
it's more convenient in batches.
Awesome. No, that makes sense, and I respect that. You can kind of self compound if you've seen a pump in AVAX and your AVAX bag is looking really good, and you want to maybe take some profits on it because you've been compounding or you've been pulling out those quarterly dividends. Then you can convert that over to what are you guys buying on? I didn't even get into that, I guess.
It's on Polygon with USDC.
Okay, so similar to Warfi. So yeah, so you can convert that over to USDC, send it off to Polygon, and there you go. You have another. You've already compounded in essence that way. So awesome. Very good. Perfect. So I'm just looking over anything else that we want to kind of hint on the NFTs. Obviously, we went through that, and then airdrops. So basically, these are the tokens that will get airdropped. Anything else will be turned into one of these, I presume, if you're mining it and can't give out that token, and this will grow in, I guess, as other tokens are available.
Yeah, we're not set in stone. The 3 that we have at the moment probably will never get taken out. It's more so that we might see things get added in at the moment, but we will always be mining, validating, and trading with more than likely with Warfi. But yeah, we might see new tokens get added in. The thing is, they will have to fit our tolerances for risk to reward.
Awesome. No, that makes sense. And then mint, we had no date yet, but I think I heard you mentioning something about later this month.
Yeah, 16th of May actually for the pre-sale. So if you hop in our Discord and get whitelisted, then 16th of May for that, and then 30th of May for the main mint. We are selling the Bond Max, which is the $2,500 allocation. There's 50 of those. We are selling them over the counter if people want to come and get in. If we want to facilitate if this is something that really aligned for you, and you're in this AMA and you're thinking like, this is what I've been looking for. I want to get into this, and you want to get in on a larger allocation, then we want to be able to facilitate that as well, while also playing to what is more likely the case, which is people want to use it as a bit more of a part of their portfolio, hence buying it a $500 allocation as well. But yeah, if this is something you really like, then you can get in through the max currently over the counter with us. You can open a ticket in our Discord and we can sort all of that out for you.
Okay, and where's it, like the extra return here? Is that just because you're kind of favoring them for the smaller amount and the fact that they're putting in the bigger pie?
It's not a preferential rate of return that they get. It's a preferential amount of that raise that gets put into the strategy, so it yields slightly higher because it's contributed slightly more to the pot, if that makes sense. There's no weight on the distribution of rewards, but yes, it yields slightly higher because basically more of that 2,500 goes into the yield generation strategies percentage wise than the $500.
So it's almost like you're just getting a benefit on fees because you're not buying 5 different NFTs. You're just buying the one sort of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, no, that makes sense. That's great. I was hoping it was that answer than the preferential treatment, but that's great. And
yeah, so it's like We want to
But
give you advantages, but just not at the cost of someone else, you know?
someone else. No, that's awesome. I appreciate that. That's great. So Tuan was just asking, how much profits do the miners make a day? Well, I guess mining. Do you know the breakdown of that? I guess it's kind of hard to break it all down because it kind of varies depending on what's going on.
It does. I mean, I
Per
can give you
day.
numbers per miner per day, I guess.
Or
Do you have
month.
some figures handy,
And I guess
Max?
again that's going to change. And I guess you guys are doing all the mining through sorry,
Fraction mining.
Through fraction mining, exactly. So
Yep.
you've got that benefit where they've already got, I think, low costs and whatnot, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we pay a set rate per month per miner. But it depends. I think like a KA3 is like 16 KDA per day. Because I think, yeah, maybe a bit less, 15 KDA per day.
Yeah, it's about so we have a few of them mining already. So the KA3s, they're currently making about about $13 per day.
Okay.
I'll give you a load of screenshots here.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, we have.
Yeah, you can share your screen too if you want to pull anything up for anybody, but that's cool. And I get it. Like again, that changes day to day.
It changes every day.
And it's hard to because it depends on how many people are mining, how many people get out of mining. Because some people will the bear keeps taking longer. Some people will get back in. It's such a variable business and quite the thing to manage. So it's kind of nice to see it kind of just using partnerships and then kind of bringing it all together is quite nice.
Yeah, we don't want to reinvent the wheel.
No,
we want to work with people who do what they do very, very well, and bring it all together. Yeah, I sent on Discord. There's a few screenshots from our ant pool. If you want to pull them up, might help a little bit on the mining front. But there's nothing super specific in there. But it'll show you things like terahashes and all that sort of good stuff.
Oh, I see. You already bought it. I was like, where'd you put it? But yes, you put it here. I can probably go open in browser. Yeah, I'll pull some of those up. Anything else you guys wanted to get into while I'm pulling these up?
One thing we can touch on is it's very variable, but we will be in a position to buy these back from people if they want to sell them as well. So you can obviously sell like any NFT, you can sell it through OpenSea, but we will. There will 100% be a market for them because we will be buying them. Hybrid Finance as a project will be reacquiring these NFTs because these are things that we believe so heavily in, and this is why we're already doing them, right? We want to reacquire the yield from them basically, and so we will be buying them back. I'm not going to say that we'll be like, grabbing them off the market the second they appear, but should people be selling them, there will be that market because we will be buying as and when is possible, and that will kind of snowball as we generate more returns from the NFTs that we've bought back and are in a position to buy back at a higher rate.
Yeah, and I guess even at that point too, there will be a time where you'll probably, if the bull kind of comes around, you might even look to selling them in order to liquidate and get some pretty darn nice profits from them, I presume.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So depending on what's going on in the market. So there's one of the screenshots there. That's for the KDA, and I do see you have one for the Litecoin here. It's hard to see them probably on the screen, guys, but if you go by, from what you were saying, then if you go by the Discord, you'll have them all there anyways.
Yeah, and Discord is by far the best place to reach us. If you have any kind of questions or anything like that, you can always ping us, and we are more than happy to share any such details with you, and we can discuss. I know a lot of people are familiar with the alternative mining hosting options, and we can discuss the pros and cons of all those and the pros and cons of everything that we're doing. We're more than happy to debate anything basically and have a chat with you guys.
Have an open conversation, and not call it all FUD. I appreciate.
Yeah, sorry, no, we'll just block you.
So, and just, I guess, asking about the miners again, and the big thing to keep in mind here is you guys have diversified in different things, so it's not all about the miners. The miners may not be as profitable of a piece of this portfolio for the first little bit, but they're a benefit to create tokens that then have appreciate in value down the road. That's where their true value is going to be.
Yeah, definitely, and they're pretty good in many ways. I mean, I was kind of impressed with how viable they are actually when we were developing this and we were speaking to Fraction. To me, it was quite they were pretty profitable. I mean, most of your big kind of more powerhousey miners ROI in about a year or so, which is not too bad, to be honest, considering they're pretty pricey.
Well, exactly. Yeah, I know if you can do that in that time frame, that's definitely beneficial for sure. I'll just get back to the website there. And again, you guys have already shown, as you did here. Sorry, right there is that nope. NFTs is that this is what you're expecting quarterly for now, and again, I feel like that's reasonable kind of thing to hope for with this kind of diversification, but it's not about this. It's about holding and seeing what it's going to be down the road. So hanging too much on what you're making now is not really that's not really what I normally buy NFTs for myself. I have my fun money, I have my little more degen money, and then I have the stuff that I want for 2 years out, where it's going to build my bag so much more by having that extra diversification. And that's where this kind of product comes into me. So yeah, thanks for that. If you guys have any questions, I don't see too much in here right now. I think we've gone through most of people's, but if anybody listening, because our audience has grown a little bit over the last 10, 20 minutes, please do pop the questions in there, because I'd love to challenge these guys to anything you're thinking about, and whatever will help perk your fancy to bring you to their Discord to research their product more is beneficial for all of us. So I did post the Discord a couple of comments up, so if anybody wants to jump in there, that would be the way to do so. I try not to make these overly long, just because sometimes it's easier to take in bite-sized pieces, but I think we've kind of got the gist. Is there anything else you guys wanted to get into while we wait possibly for some other questions? Any other, are these your 4 partnerships? That's kind of how you're making it, is this is your network? Is there any ideas for other things down the road, or obviously maybe you can't say now, but is there other stuff in the works?
Yes, no. So for just clarity, our network section is mostly just centered around projects that we speak to a lot and believe in, and focus on. Fraction Mining, Key, and Amorify are partners, but that section is not. They're not all partnerships, right? Xeno is not a partnership. We just think they're an amazing project, and those guys are great. And we chat to them, and we look into working with them constantly, right? Just depending on what position we were in and what they're offering. And the network side, we want to expand as much as possible. We want to interact with as many other protocols and projects as possible. Hybrid Finance has been around for quite a while now, and we are relatively well connected in the space. So it's just Hybrid Bond. We just got to be careful, because we are going for such sustainability, reliability, and low risk. We don't want to be associated, like I speak to loads of other projects, but they're just too degen-y to kind of connect with Hybrid Bond, if that makes sense. So Hybrid Bond will only have relationships with things that are just hyper trustworthy, basically.
Okay, so more of a shout out page, which is nice. So we need more communication in this industry to help keep it good. So, and I know the answer to this one. I believe it's been asked on some other things, but any audits, docs, KYC. So you guys, I believe, pardon me, KYC. I think I saw it on here. There we are. KYC by Obsidian.
Yep, KYC by Obsidian, exactly. No audit on any of this, because it's not too important. We can just test it thoroughly on testnet, right? Which is what we have been doing. It's all pretty straightforward. The only thing to be careful with is make sure the old airdrop contract doesn't, decide to pick the null wallet as its airdrop destination. But other than that, it's all pretty straightforward.
Well, and I guess you'd have the opening no matter what, because you're going to need to take this money out of the contract to invest in these different fields. You're not going to be able to do it in the contract like a Ponzi scheme. So there's always going to be a high risk, because we need to trust you guys that the money's being taken out and used where it's going to be used, correct?
Yeah, exactly. Like the contract, the contract doesn't handle any funds except for the airdrop contract. Just splits it out to everyone. So it's all pretty relaxed on that front. Obviously, there's you have to trust in the fact that the funds that come into this go into the right places. But in that sense, like, the KYC is great with Obsidian. Honestly, for me, if I was an investor, it's just the fact that Hybrid Finance has been around. We raised $750,000 back over a year ago now. If I was going to flee with the money, I would have fleed a long time ago, to be honest.
And not keep wasting your time and money building more.
Exactly, yeah. So that for me is the big security thing. But
Yeah.
I appreciate for other people it may be the KYC or whatever it may be.
Yeah, well, and it's there, so that's great. Phil suddenly. So Quarter Mile always likes to ask the awesome morbid questions. Do you guys have plans in place if suddenly anything happens to you guys? Obviously, so is there anything in place to kind of keep the wheels turning? I guess if anything was to happen to either of the team members.
Interesting. That's a good question.
Create
We have
cyborgs of
Yeah,
ourselves.
there you go.
exactly. AI.
Just constantly feed your AI into a machine, and it'll run it all for you.
Yeah. ChatGPT will do my job for me. It's
Take
fine.
over for you. Yeah.
There's a third team member who works around in the background. Kilmac does an amazing amount of work on our marketing front, and generally helps out at all areas. So there's him, providing he's still alive. He'll be able to handle things. Aside from that, I mean, if we did for whatever reason have to take time away from the space on a large scale level, Obsidian are great for these sorts of things as well. You know, they do much more than just that KYC. If we were in the position that we needed to do a refund or whatever, you know, they help out making sure that that's done in as transparent and an efficient manner. And they've had to do some massive, horrendous refunds over the years, the likes of Liquid Capital and all that sort of debacle, you know. So they're well versed in kind of handling these things, and we get along very well with those guys. We literally just had an AMA with them half an hour ago. So we have plenty of people who would be able to help out in terms of refunding and closing down. But outside of that, the team is kind of small. So to keep running without two of us would be fairly tricky. But it would be, I would be confident it would be handled in a good position.
Nice. And Funny Swirl was asking, any plans to partnership with MDB or Foxify?
Yeah, we are an affiliate of Foxify.
I saw that.
So I've just got a message from them now, actually. In terms of partnership with MDB, it just doesn't quite align. MDB are amazing. And the way they run MDB from the beginning was they're fantastic. And I speak to Danny over there. I can't say relatively frequently, but we definitely have spoken quite a bit, so get along well with them. But I just don't think there would be any legitimate tie-in with a partnership there. So it would just be partnering for the sake of hype, which is something we're not comfortable doing.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's great. And again, you're kind of, I mean, Foxify is MDB sort of in a sense, and I think it's going to be a great addition to the space. So always having an affiliate link or an attachment to them is not a bad thing for each of you to benefit from, marketing wise and whatnot. And it's mutually beneficial in a good way and in a less hypey way. So that's great.
Yeah, it's just very transparent. You know, it's not like Foxify like think we're the best thing ever and are telling you should invest. Like it's just we're just affiliated with them. It's clear and transparent.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, that's great. And I'm assuming link to the hybrid bond app, that's probably coming. I think I saw, like, if you go to the Mint here, I'm assuming it'll be in here at some point on your website. Or do you have
it will be, yeah, we'll have a simple enough Mint page. In terms of DApp, again, we're launching without like the major bells and whistles because just of efficiency, really. We don't want to go and have a ton of outlays right before we launch this. We can build these things out later on. It's not super important. Again, like this is why I can't stress the Discord enough. Hop in our Discord channel. That's where, or like Twitter's good, but honestly, I would say Discord just because of the conversation level that you can just ping us and say like what's going on, and we can just shoot you over like the latest numbers or whatever it may be.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it makes sense because right now, really, you're not going to be doing a payout or an airdrop for a quarter, for 4 months, anyways, right? So or 3 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense. Other than that, that's all the people had, I guess. Is there anything else you guys had that you wanted to add? I know I've asked that once or twice, but just want to make sure we don't miss anything. The website, and obviously everything seems pretty darn straightforward. The nice thing is that the protocol itself is simple by design, which is nice to see. And the diversification of it is pretty ingenious to have the ability to bring along all those different tokens that you can earn over time is great. So anything else you'd like to add?
I think it's been pretty comprehensive, so I think we've covered everything from our end anyway.
Nice. Yeah. And again, the website's here. It looks like there's even some facts. And the big thing, I guess, to really hammer it home is get to the Discord. I'll make sure the Discord link is, although I did post it up above, I'll make sure it's in the description of the video through playbacks. Really something like this, there's some protocols where you can kind of hands off and just work the dApp, but something like this, I think being in the community is going to be important, and so hopefully everybody takes the time to come in there who are interested. I can't speak all of a sudden. Other than that, if there's no other questions, we'll kind of close her off there. If you guys have any final words or words of wisdom or anything you'd like to add at the end for fun, or we'll leave it at that.
Put me on the spot like that. Not at all. I just, thank you to everyone who's come and listened to us, and hop in the Discord and let us know what you think. There's so much that we can still learn from people who read through our documentation and come to us with questions, concerns, recommendations. A lot of great ideas have come our way through things like that. So we'd be delighted to hear from you, and thank you very much for having us here today. It's been a lovely AMA, very enjoyable. So thank you.
No worries. No, I appreciate it. And like I said, I appreciate products like this that are so simplistic by design, but also very methodical. And again, I think more of us need to be thinking about what we should be doing now to grow for that bull market that's going to come at some point. And this is pretty much kind of a bundle of it all, as you say, an ETF of them all. So definitely a good opportunity, I think, for people to diversify their portfolio a bit nicer with ease, which is bonus. So, well, thank you so much for joining me, Solo and McElroy. I can't speak again. We'll be in touch, and I'll see you in the Discord as well as in our DMs as we communicate as things progress. So thanks for